Hey, hey, Lorenzo, Gueco, how are you?
Thank you for having me back. It's been a
Yeah,
while. I'm
yeah,
testing out the virtual background so I can get in work mode as we all still
yeah,
work from home. It's fun to kind
yeah,
of switch it up. So
yeah.
we're
That's a
testing it out
really
today.
cool workspace you're hanging out in. You've been busy out in the field.
Yes, showings have, in this new world of showing property, no more open houses. We have been out on the field showing multiple clients, which better gives us a chance to engage with them and learn more about their needs faster
Yeah,
than sending them out to an open house. So
yeah,
it's been good. It's been
yeah.
special.
But it is interesting booking like a weekend of showing appointments, right? Like you grab what you can get on some of these properties as far as time goes, huh?
Absolutely. And we use some of the downtime to walk the neighborhood. So that's kind of cool too.
Oh, cool. That's
It's,
good. I didn't
yeah,
realize that. Very cool. All right, so let's talk a little bit about our inventory and then we're going to go into contingencies. So, inventory has dropped in San Carlos and Belmont this week, which is not necessarily what's supposed to be happening at this point in the year.
and to your point, there's only been 6 new listings in San Carlos with 12 that went pending over the last week. And that will for sure make inventory drop.
Right, that's cranking. The county is just slightly up. It went like from 349 to 355. And we are almost at the point where for every home listed, one home is selling. It's crazy.
And we're a broken record, but yep, pretty much the same story as last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah. This week we heard an economist speak, and we've kind of been working with the notion that it might be a pretty typical year and that the second half of the year might provide more opportunities for buyers. I've definitely left that presentation feeling like that might not be the right message to buyers, that it could be more expensive in the second half of the year than it is now. So if you're a buyer out there and you find a house you like, yeah, you should go for it because it might cost you more in, say, July or October than it's going to cost you now. So it was very interesting. Okay, so now we're going to talk about contingencies, a huge piece of kind of the process in buying or selling a home. So, um, what is a contingency? It's a time period that you have in a contract to do your due diligence or sorting things out, if you will. So, Lorenzo, I think let's have you talk about what are the three contingencies, because going through those helps better explain what a contingency is.
Absolutely. So contingencies can be confusing. It could be daunting. It could be scary, but think of it as a safety blanket, so to speak, or a due diligence period. The first one is your general property inspection, and that could be the most broadest. That could be things like, hey, you know what? I visited the property at night, didn't like the parking situation. Therefore,
Great
this is not the
example.
perfect home for me. And it allows us to, in this very fast market, the ability to maybe get a specialty inspection. It could be structural, it could be chimney, it could be a pool, it could be anything. Again, very broad. The appraisal is a little bit more like an art form. We do our best to find the best comparable properties, that's similar properties that sold within X amount of time with the same characteristics, to justify that the value of the home is worth the money that we're borrowing. But let's not get confused, because there's market value and there's appraised value, and sometimes those don't match up. And in those situations, you may be paying more for the home, but here in our trending up market, appraisers do their best to give us the best data for a appreciating market. Last is the loan contingency. We currently suggest and recommend that we get all that handled beforehand. There are possibilities where you may just come to the market and you find the home that you want, but you'll need a loan contingency because you're not in underwriting or you haven't even submitted your loan application to the lender. And that's where that would come into play. However, in our non-contingent market, we are recommending to get into underwriting as far as you can. So the last piece is just identifying the home and figuring out the purchase price, and then let the lender do the last half of that to qualify the home for your purchase.
How many contracts are you writing these days that have contingencies?
I would say not many. So not many
What
here in
about
the peninsula.
I know that you've had a couple recently that have had them. What were the situations that allowed you to have them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And these are far few in between. One was a first-time buyer and an entry-level price point, not the average price point for San Mateo County, but an entry-level price point. And we targeted this home because the days on market were a lot longer than the average, and the price was reduced once. So in those situations, maybe you can come in with a loan contingency or a buyer contingency, because you're still offering a good offer price, but you still have to do some back-end due diligence.
Yeah. I was thinking about it this morning as I was prepping for this. So our team has sold over 300 homes in over the last 17 years. And I think probably there have been maybe 30 homes that we've sold that had contingencies in the contract. It is definitely by far more so the norm that we're in a market where you can't have a contingency. We love opportunities that, we can try and get for our buyers where they can have them, but by and large, they can't. One thing that I was thinking about is that part of the contingency, what it does is it protects that initial deposit, which around here is 3% of your purchase price. So a contingency gives you a time period where that money is protected if you back out. Once contingencies are removed, or if you go in without contingencies, that 3% deposit is what's on the line from, like I said, the time the contingencies are removed, or essentially the time you get into contract if you have no contingencies. Lorenzo, how do you get buyers comfortable going into a contract on a home without contingencies, since that is so much the norm?
Yeah, absolutely. The great thing about our team, and I think I looked it up, the last 5 transactions that all 3 of us were involved in, or that we have in escrow right now, are all non-contingent, and they're all over $1 million. So with that said, we do really well, or we do our best to mitigate the problems up front by asking a lot of questions, going through the disclosures, asking the agent and the seller if they can provide any clarity around things that we find in the disclosures, or things that we may think is a red flag, but after we get some clarity, it may be something typical of home ownership.
Yep.
As well as discussing with the lender on the front end, excuse me, how much more does this borrower need to do to complete their loan file so they can be as far into underwriting as possible. So again, that we can just identify the property, and that would be the last kind of qualifying thing for the loan. And on the appraisal side, we do really well about going out and seeing homes when we can, doing neighborhood tours, really educating the client on why the values fall here versus this neighborhood, or basically versus this street, because every street could be different. And then we share the comparable properties, and we kind of go through that data and explain to them why that this home that had a view versus this home that didn't may have sold for 100,000 more, but they could be right next door to each other or on opposite ends of the street. So we really try to get information, and information is key to making an informed decision when making an offer.
Yeah. And sometimes if there's something concerning in the inspection reports, we'll talk with the inspectors and get the buyers on the line with us to have a conversation to get a better understanding and see, is it really as frightening as it sounds in the report? Or, sometimes the inspector will provide us with information that makes us a little less concerned. And sometimes we'll bring in a specialty inspector before a contract is written. It's an outlay of money with not any certainty that you're going to get the property, but definitely a worthwhile expenditure if there's something that's uncertain that you need to figure out before going in on a competitive situation. So I think that kind of covers it. Anything you feel like we left unturned?
I just think being prepared right now, even lenders are saying it, the more prepared you are with your loan and with your due diligence, those are the offers that are winning. And those are the offers that you can feel comfortable and confident about putting out.
Yep. Yeah.
So preparation.
Yep. And as we always advise buyers, don't do anything crazy with your finances while you're going through this process, or you might end up in an uncertain situation. So, well, awesome. Thank you, Lorenzo, for joining us. This is Veritas Homes, the Vandervoort Group. I am Val Vandervoort, and we've got
Lorenzo. Thank you for. I'll be back more. We had a little bit of a break, but I'll be in here more.
Yeah, as we continue our consumer education segments, Lorenzo will be joining us more often. And we're here to help you with your buyer and seller and investing needs. So please reach out to Lorenzo or myself, we would love to help you through the process around here. So happy Friday, enjoy the weekend, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Have a
All
good
right.
weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Oh, not even on my brain. All right. Bye, everyone.